Hello and welcome to Kismet Rising. So today I'm doing an energy forecast, and this was requested by a loyal viewer, subscriber from the Oracle card guidance that I dropped yesterday. And yes, it's been a while since I've done an energy forecast, I have to say. I think the last one was in March or perhaps the end of February. And there has been much going on. I've just chosen not to speak about it. I've also needed to be out of the limelight for a while, not just from YouTube, but also with friends and family. And I work as a healer, an energy healer, and I have a preference for seclusion and to be a bit of a hermit now and again. So I need to retreat from the world in order to be able to work and to be able to use the energy that I have in a way that is the most effective for the healing of this world and with the people that I work with and all. So yes, I haven't been doing energy forecasts, and as some of you might have noted that I haven't done pick a card readings in a long time, and I've been meaning to come back to it, but it just hasn't felt right. And I can't work with something unless it feels guided or it feels right. So I just can't, I can't just do pick a card readings because it's something that I have a schedule and I have a routine and I must do it. I need to feel it. It needs to come from a certain space within me, and it needs to have a healing element to it. So yeah, that's a bit of me and why I haven't been around. But I have, been trying to put out these weekly Oracle card guidance readings. Just to let you know that I'm there, and also just to be able to put this energy out into the world in some way, aside from just through my clients and the people I interact with. So yes, so here I am, and we're talking about the energy. Now I'm recording this at the end of June. What is the date today? It's the 25th of June. And the eclipse that we're coming up to, the solar eclipse, is on the 2nd of July. So there's so much to be said about this. Where do I begin? Excuse me, I'm still recovering from a cold, so I might be sniffling every now and again. I think one of the things that I want to talk about is the eclipse that we had in January. Okay, the January-February eclipses were huge, as they always are. They always are remarkable and deep and awakening for many people in various different levels of their lives, depending on where you're at and your astrology and just where you're at from a vibrational point of view. So I think that a lot of the work that was done like around January and February. And what we would have been dealing with from then till now would have been residual stuff. So it would have been the repercussions or the side effects of the changes that we would have made then. And for those of you who hadn't gone through deep transformative changes back then in January and February and the month after, like till about the end of March or so, you didn't feel that intensity. Well, you've been building up for it, because now this eclipse here in July brings closure to all the work that we've been doing. So I would say that from an energetic point of view, from not speaking about astrology, but just in terms of the energy, we would have been feeling a lot of this from about October last year. And now we've come to, like, by the first week of July, we would have come full circle, and we would be able to completely let go, completely close the chapter on whatever it is that we've been working on. Some of you might have been feeling this from about August last year. So I'm talking about August 2018. Excuse me once again. So most of you would actually know what I'm talking about, because you can identify something that you've been working in your life, or a certain theme that's been running through your life, whether it's been that you needed to distance yourself from people, whether it is that you were working through a health problem, or whether you needed to work with your boundaries, or with just heaving yourself out of a depression, or changing the nature of your love life, changing your relationship to love, changing your relationship to the gender to which you're attracted, and just also working with themes like where are you living and what are your relationships with the people that you live with. So a lot has changed. If you have to go back and look at, for instance, from August till now, till like about the 2nd or 3rd week of July, you would note that a lot has changed, okay? And you can even write it out and put it in point form and look at your love life, your home life, your living experience, your work, your relationship to yourself, your relationship to family, to friends, to work colleagues, to your health. Yeah, you'd look at all of this and you'd see that you've come a really long way. There have been changes along the way. And for some of you, it might feel subtle, or it might feel as if there's nothing that has changed. But actually, you have changed. The way in which you approach the world, the way in which you actually are in this world, and the way in which others perceive you is different, okay? And, you wouldn't be drawn to this channel and you wouldn't be watching this if this message is not relevant to you. So I think that on some level, those of you who are drawn to my vibrational energy and who come to me and listen to what I have to say, you do have something that resonates with you with regard to what I'm saying. And so this would have applied to you in some way. So I think a lot of the intensive work has been done between January and March. And I think then we've just had residual type of things to work through. So it was almost like if you're building a house, you would have dug up the foundation sometime around August, or you would have done the plans sometime around August. You would have started digging up the foundation around October. You would have put up the structure and done whatever breaking down you needed to, or just created the structure around January and February. And around March, you would have done the plastering or just the finishing touches, putting on the window panes and the windows, etc. And then between the end of March and now, July, you would have been busy very slowly, very delicately finishing off this project. So you would be, using this metaphor of a house, you would be doing the painting or the finishing touches, the taps, the handles, the door handles, the furniture, the decoration, the curtains or blinds or whatever you'd be doing in your home. So how does this apply to the area of your life that you've been working with? So for some of you, if we use the example of love, all right, for some of you who have been in this whole, enwrapped in this whole twin flame kind of addiction, so to say, you would be able to see the situation much more clearly, and you would be able to stand in your own feet and with your own power and look at the love situation very clearly and not be enveloped in these ideas of twin flame and be kind of consumed by that. You'll be able to take a look at what it is, feel the feelings that you have, and acknowledge the sacred aspect of that relationship, but also not be addicted to it. Not, you would be able to have a certain degree of independence with regard to that. That's in terms of love, and that is one of the ways in which it might have occurred. And if it doesn't, then if you're still struggling with those kind of things, you're still in the process of working through it, and there's nothing to be worried about. These energies go in cycles. It'll come again, and perhaps you still have something to learn from that, and that's why you're still not at that space where you are still approaching it in a particular way because you need to understand something about yourself. And what we need to recognize is that all of this has much to do with yourself. It doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. It doesn't have to do with your family or your work or your co-workers or your friends or your loved one. It has everything to do with you and your relationship to everything else and your perception of everything else. So everything that we're working through at every moment is how we perceive the world and how we understand that world and how we react to it. So what we've been working with is kind of if your pendulum's been swinging, really wildly in January and February, now it's coming to a gradual stop. Okay, it's coming to an end. And as I mentioned already, it's like this closing of this chapter, like this book's been written, it's been edited many times. You've put on the finishing touches on it, and it's now ready for publication. So that is what July's energies are going to bring. For those of you who've been in the thick of it in January and February, that is. For those of you who are just still being, in the planning stages in January and February, if you're just starting the construction, then you might find that you'll be in the thick of it from July till about the end of this year, till about December or so. You'll find that there's this new energy that you'll be in, and you'll be working through something new. For those of you who have been in the thick of it in January, February, and you're closing this chapter, you'll be working on something new. So what are we working with? All right. To a large extent, we are working with transformation. We are working with sort of a metamorphosis, like the way in which a butterfly would have been in a cocoon, and it's going to escape that, and it's going to enter the world anew. And this transformation is something that knocks on your door, and it's almost as if you can't ignore it any longer, and you have to do it. And if you don't do it, it will kind of knock on your door and kind of take you for that ride anyway, kicking and screaming. Or it might be that you just surrender to it along the way. What is this transformation about? So, in many ways, it's an alchemical transformation, and you may be able to experience it in. You'll experience it in various ways. One of the ways in which you might experience it is through your sexuality, or through your sexual energy, and how you use that sexual energy to bond with another, or to experience another, and to experience yourself, or how you use that sexual energy and channel it for your own success. It might also have to do with aggression and aggressive energy, or anger, and how you channel that. It's very much about transforming energy. Okay, we are just energy, and it's about transforming that, transforming ourselves. It's very much about moving beyond. Where are we ready to move beyond? What is this journey that we've been on? For some of you, which it may have started around 2011, for others around 2013, for some of you towards the end of 2014, 2015, and for others it might just be like about 2 years old, so from about July 2017. Are any of these time periods, do they resonate with you? Do they actually speak to you? Think back at where you were then, and think of what you've been going through ever since, and thinking about what you've learned in the process, and how you've changed, and how you are different with the world. And understand that some of these transformations that you're undergoing right now, or you've been undergoing all this time, is actually coming to a head. It's coming to that point where you've learned your lesson, you've graduated, and you've done really well. And if you haven't done that in the last few months, in the last eclipse, well, you have another opportunity to better yourself, and to work through this, and to finally let go of this. Because what you're doing is that we are moving into a whole new energy. It's not going to just, be in the control of others anymore, being on the control of the 1%, or be in control of the organizations or the governments of the world. What you come to understand is that the energy is within us all, and we can impact everything and all. So what do I mean by that? I'm talking about just merely making a wish and having it come true. You wish that there isn't going to be a war with Iran, and it comes true. You wish that the governments could take a more rational stance, and they do. You wish that there is world peace, and there is. You wish that the environment would heal itself, or the world will heal itself. You wish that it's a myriad of things. What is it that you wish for? And these wishes have less to do with oneself, and one's own goals, one's personal ambitions. It has more to do with the world and how it impacts us all. So this time is actually about understanding that you have this control and you have this power, and that you're not as helpless or powerless or a victim of a certain particular circumstance or government or law or a form of governance. You are actually completely in charge of how you respond to this and how you're part of this. So, excuse me, sniffling the whole time. I will use an example, okay? So basically, I live in Germany. I'll use a personal example. I grew up in South Africa during apartheid. And as you can tell, I'm a brown-skinned person. And race issues tend to be a factor for me. So often, I grew up in a South Africa where it was just full of love, as much as there were difficulties with apartheid. As I was, in my young adult life, I was in a new democracy, and it was full of potential, and it was an amazing time to be in South Africa, and I always held that with me. And the experiences that I had in South Africa didn't really impact me so deeply in terms of the racial discrimination that I faced then. It was almost like you just took it for granted that that would be the way it was. And now I live in Germany, and when I'm faced with racial discrimination, it's something that I take very personally. It's something that I actually feel I'm a victim of. So it's something. So, for instance, that is an issue that I have to deal with right now. This is something that I have to understand, that I'm no longer a victim of the circumstance. I can choose for it to be different. I can choose to think a different way. I can choose to ignore the aspect of it, which is racial discrimination, and feel in my power and feel in control of the situation, and not feel belittled by the extreme right-wing factions that are rising in Europe, and not feel a victim of that. I can feel as if it's okay to be me, and it's okay to actually I have the right to be here, and I have the I don't have to be, well, basically, sorry, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I don't have to feel belittled by that circumstance. So it's like, it's as if the energy right now is asking you, you've worked through that, okay, tick, you've worked through that, tick, and what is it more that you need to work with? What is it that you need to actually work with, so that you no longer feel that you need to be a victim, that you no longer feel like you need the sympathy of somebody or something, or you no longer feel like you need to change something as it is, because your wishes and your ability to be in this world is enough to be able to place your intention out there, and it has power and it has force and it has a certain longevity to breathe. You can breathe your intention into the world, and then it is. And if you believe this, and if you hold on to that, then you have the power to actually effect that, okay? And it will have that impact that you are longing for. So what is it that's been bugging you? What is that last thing that's been bugging you? What is that thing that stands between you and your perfection? Where is it? What is that thing that disempowers you, that makes you feel little, that makes you feel smaller than you are, that makes you feel like, you need to change something? What is that one thing that makes you angry, that makes you irritated, that makes you feel almost apathetic on some level, like as if you don't have control over it? Focus on that one thing, take it and run with it and work with it, and realize that you can impact it differently. You need no longer be that person that is impacted by that which is outside of you. What you can be is, you can be this person which you are, that you choose to be, okay? And you can effect that reality into the world around you. And as a result, you will have experiences that are in alignment with what your expectations are, okay? So this might, this could be in, if you're feeling poor, or you're feeling like you don't have enough money or you don't have enough funds. This is that could be an example of what it is that you're experiencing. If it is something with regard to your health, if you feel powerless with regard to your health because you are constantly being bombarded with health issues and you just can't seem to actually bring yourself above that, this is something that you can also work with, and you can also feel like, this is my body. I have the control over my body. I am my body. I can heal myself, and I choose to heal, and I choose to actually rejuvenate myself and bring myself into purity and health, and go with that, And so this eclipse is asking you, it's like saying, okay, I've been working with you all these years and all these months, and I've gotten you to the point where you're ready. You're now ready to transform. So what is standing between me and my perfection, as I've mentioned already? What is it? What is the wall that's standing between me and my perfection? What is it that I need to do now in order to be able to break free and just simply be as I am? And in these last months, I think that so many of you would have felt that. You would have felt glimmers of that. You would have felt it almost glistening, like the morning dew, waiting for you to recognize it and to taste it. And actually just, it's there. It's waiting for you to actually take it. So, and the work has been done. The work for so many of you has been done. And if you're thinking, oh my God, what are you talking about, Shalin? I haven't done anything and I'm still in the thick of it, and this is so hard. Then I want you to know that what I'm talking about is not far away. If you're hearing me speak of it right now, it's within your grasp. It's on your horizon. You're working towards it. Just have faith and know that the ending is actually that of, it's not of doom, it's not of gloom. It's that where you realize that you have the power to heal this earth, and you have the power to heal yourself, and you take charge of that, and you're no longer dependent on others to actually help you to heal yourself. You're no longer subject to modern medicine or to your government's health insurance or Obamacare or whatever kind of healthcare. It's not like you're dependent on that social system which supports you in any way, because you realize that the power is within you and that you can change your life in whichever way you desire. So I think I've labored on about that. I think that's pretty clear. If it's not, drop me a message, drop me a comment, and I'll try to clarify further. So I just made some notes here because I often forget what I'm supposed to say. Yeah, so it's about a transformation, moving beyond, recreating your life, identifying where it is that you are still blocked and moving on from it. And also, if you need to plan it, if you need to set goals, then do so. If you need a more structured form of transformation, if you feel there's a certain security that comes from that, then do that. Identify what needs to be removed, identify where you're headed to, and strategize. Make a plan as to how you're going to get to where you want to, and set goals for yourself, set time frames, set schedules, and move in this, work in this program to give you the assurances that you need. All right. So don't be afraid to do that. If that's your method and your style of working, don't be afraid to actually do that. And also, seek help if you need it. Seek help to actually transform in this way. This is the kind of work I do with some of my clients, by the way. I work with them to get to a better place, to reach their highest potential, to get through certain struggles and difficulties. And I actually, I create programs for them to be able to do so. So that's one of the things that I do. And so also, look at what, I think I've mentioned this already, but just briefly, look at what you have worked through already and how far you've come. And, celebrate that. You've done so well until now. You've come so far. And you've actually, you've been struggling through this. It's been hard. It's not been just hard for one person or for your neighbor or, for others. It's been hard for everyone these last few years. And, you need to actually be able to regain your power, to take back your power, and actually to be in this world completely in your own spirit, okay? And so, yes, it has been difficult, but look at where you've come from and what you've worked through and how far you've come and how far you need to go and where it is that you need to go forward. And if you don't know, then just ask. Close your eyes, sit down, ground yourself and ask, what is it that I need to do next? What is my path forward? Where is it that I need to go? And you will hear it and you'll be guided, okay? And even if you're not guided in that you hear a voice clearly speaking to you and saying, this is the way forward, then, you'll be guided. You'll have signs. You'll see things along the way and you'll understand. Be careful not to see signs that you actually want to see, okay? But I feel that kind of energy is also changed right now. So we no longer are in the fog, We no longer trying to make our way through things and seeing things and imagining that this is what this is. We are seeing things in a much more clearer way. And for those of you in the southern hemisphere who are actually experiencing winter right now, you might find that you actually literally go into a period of hibernation and a retreat. And you might also find that what I'm talking about right now hits you around October, around the end of September, October. This is when you start feeling that this is clearer. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you know what I'm talking about. There's a clarity ahead of you right now. Even if you've been dealing with aggression or kind of energy that is neither here or there in these last few weeks, if you've been trying to understand, if you've been trying to go deeper and you've been working and struggling with those kind of things, it's going to become clearer now. July is clearer. July is a reprieve. July is where things come to light, and August is where it starts again. And where August, September, you're working towards something new. You are on a new project, so to say. It's as if you finish one project and now you begin a new. So look at how far you've come. I think that's really important in terms of being able to understand your power, understanding your capacity, and also understanding how strong you are. Simply, giving yourself the praise that you actually deserve, and that will in itself allow you to have confidence to go ahead. For some of you might have had loss in your life during this year. You might know people who passed on. You might have been dealing with loss on some level or the other. This is meant to be, okay? As much as I try not to talk about things that are meant to be, there's a certain sense of it needing to be. That is why it happened. And I get a very strong sense of this. For those of you who have lost loved ones or lost friends or have lost someone, it's okay. It's okay to let go of them. It's okay. Their spirit need no longer be here in this way, in this form. And it's okay, all right? I felt like I needed to say that because I feel and I know that there are lots of people who have experienced losses in their lives. Maybe it was a long relationship that you were in. Maybe it was a marriage. Maybe it was a childhood love that you finally let go of. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person would have to die, but there are big chapters closing, and so for some of these people it might have closed in terms of endings like death, or endings of a certain kind of relationship that you might have endured for 20 or 30 years or 10 years. And it's all good. It's all meant to be. It's all going the way it should be. Everything's going according to plan. So I hope that's been helpful. Sometimes I feel like I'm just rambling on here. I hope that's been helpful. I hope that this helps you to see your situation more clearly. And do write to me. Let me know how it's been going for you. And yes, let me know how it's been. I wish you really well, and I will do an energy forecast when I feel that one is needed again. Sometimes I feel like I need to do it every week or every month, and then sometimes I feel like I don't need to do it. You know what the energy is like, and I feel very much, well, I've been trying in the weekly oracle card guidance to spend like 10 or 20 seconds talking about the energy, and I feel that in the last few weeks they have been very much speaking of the energy. So it doesn't just speak of the energy of the week, it speaks very much about the grander energy that we are in. And I feel that those cards, they speak to everyone, not just to one particular person that would have chosen one set of cards. So I think that they've been doing a fairly good job of delivering an energy forecast. So I thank you if you come this far in this video. I thank my subscribers and the loyal viewers that I have for being there. I thank you for your patience with regard to the pick a card readings, and and I wish you all very, very well. Much abundance and excellent health and well-being. May you all be safe and full of love, and blessings abound from Kismet Rising.